Hi students, welcome to day 5 of our Read Aloud, City of Ember. So when we left off last time, with the help of Clary, Lena had figured out that egress, which is part of what it said at the beginning of the instructions, that egress means the exit or the way out. Lena had thought it was part of someone's name, instructions for Egreston or Egressman, because if you look at the instructions that she's pieced together so far, see, she figured out this was instructions for, and then here she thought it was a name, Egreston or Egressman, but now after showing it to Clary, she thinks that it is just egress with one more S, so instructions for egress, meaning instructions for exit. And so this is what she has, the pieces of words that she has, so there's a lot of gaps and holes because remember Poppy chewed up the instructions because she's just a baby. She chewed it up because she didn't know what it was when Granny had found it in the closet in the locked box that had unlocked on its own because it was set to be locked for 200 years by the builders. So anyways, we are in chapter 13 still, deciphering the message. So it is real, Toon said. It is. We have to figure out the rest, or as much of the rest as possible. Can you come now? He darted into his room, emerged with his jacket, and they ran. All right, said Lena. They were on the floor of the blue-green room at Mrs. Murdo's. Let's take the first line. She moved her finger along it slowly. Number 1, EXP, Riv, Ip, Orc. We know that Ip Orc is pipework, she said. EXP could be expand or explore or expose. There's a big space between EXP and the rest, said June. There must be more words in there. But who knows what they are? Let's move on. Lena swept her straggly hair impatiently back from her face. Look at number 2. Number 2. STON, but there's a space in front of it, so space, STON, marked with E by R, and then a space, and then a space, and then DGE. Lena put her finger on STON. What could that be? Maybe piston? Said June. That's part of a machine, like the generator. Or maybe it's astonish, or it could be... I bet it's just plain stone, said Lena. There's a lot of stone in the pipeworks. June had to admit this was probably right. So then, he said, it would be stone marked with E. He frowned at the next bit. This must be river's edge. Stone marked with E by the river's edge. They looked at each other in delight. E for egress, cried Lena. E for exit. They bent over the document again. There's not much left of this line, said June. Number 3, big space, ADDE down Iver Inc. to edge APPR, big space, 8 space low. Just this part, which must say down riverbank to edge something. Edge of water would make sense, but right after edge, there's APP. What would that be? June sat back on his heels and gazed up at the ceiling as if the answer might be there. Lena muttered, down riverbank to edge. Edge. She thought of Clary's guesses about that line. Maybe it's ledge, she said. Down riverbank to ledge? There could be a ledge down near the water. Yes, that must be right. There's a stone marked with E, and down the riverbank, at that point, there's a ledge. I think we're getting it. Once again, they crouched over the page, their heads close together. Okay, June said, line 4. Number 4, big space, ACKS to the space, find door of bow, space, cur, KE, space, hind small steel pan, space, the right, space, rem, space, EY, open, DO, space, period. This is where it says door, Lena said. Somehow the door is by the ledge. Does that make sense? And there's that small steel pan. What can that mean? What would a pan have to do with anything? But look. Lena tapped the paper urgently. Here it says KE, and here it says EY. It's talking about a key. But what is it a door to? Said Dune, sitting back. Remember, we thought about this before. A door in the bank of the river would lead under the pipeworks. Linda pondered this. Maybe it leads to a long tunnel that goes way out beyond Ember and then gradually up and up until it comes out at the other city. What other city? Dune glanced up at the drawings tacked to the walls of Lena's room. Oh, he said, you mean that city? Well, it could be. Dune shrugged. I suppose so. Or it could be another city exactly like this one. That was a gloomy thought. Both of them felt their spirits sink a little at the idea, so they turned back to the task of deciphering. Next line, said Lena, but Dune sat back on his heels again. He stared into the air, half smiling. I have an idea, he said. If we do find the way out, we'll need to announce it to everyone. Wouldn't it be splendid to do it during the singing? Stand up there in front of the whole city and say we've found it? It would be, Lena said, but that's only 2 days away. Yes, we have to hurry. They were bending again over the glued-down fragments when Dune remembered that he should check the time. It was 9:15. He barely had time to get home. Come again tomorrow, said Lena, and while you're at work, look for the rock marked with E. That night, Dune had trouble sleeping. He couldn't find a comfortable position on his bed. It seemed to be made up of nothing but lumps and wrinkles, and it squeaked and groaned every time he moved. He flailed around so much that the noise woke his father, who came to his room and asked, What is it, son? Nightmares? No, said Dune, I just can't sleep. Are you worrying? Frightened of anything? Dune wanted to say, Yes, Father, I'm worried because the mayor of our city is taking for himself the things that people need, and I'm afraid because any day our lights could go out forever. I'm worried and afraid a lot of the time, but I'm also excited because I think there is a way out, and we might find it, and all those feelings are whirling around in my head, which makes it hard to sleep. He could have told his father everything. His father would have plunged in with great enthusiasm. He would have helped them decipher the instructions and expose the mayor's thievery. He would even have come down into the pipeworks and helped search for the rock marked with E. But Dune wanted to keep those things to himself for now. Tomorrow the guards would announce that an alert young boy had uncovered the mayor's crime, and his father, hearing the announcements along with the rest of Ember, would turn to the person next to him and say, That's my son they're talking about. My son. So, in answer to his father's question, he simply said, No, Father, I'm all right. Well then, see if you can't lie still, said his father. Good night, son, he added, and closed the door. Dune smoothed out his covers and pulled them up to his chin. He closed his eyes, but he still couldn't sleep. So then he tried a method that had often worked for him before. He would choose a place he knew well, the school, for instance, and imagine himself walking through it, picturing it as he went in minute detail. That means like very specific details. Often his thoughts would wander, but he would always bring them back to the imaginary journey, and something about doing this would often make him sleepy. This night he decided to retrace his explorations of the pipeworks. He held his mind to the task for a long time, picturing with all the clarity he could muster everything he had seen in that underground realm. The long stairway, the tunnels, the door, the path along the river, the rocks along the path. He felt sleep drawing closer, a heaviness in his limbs. But just as he was about to give in to it, he saw in his mind's eye the wrinkled rocks that bordered the river at the west end of the pipeworks, the rocks whose strange ridges and creases had reminded him of writing. His eyes flew open in the dark, his heart began to hammer, and he gave up on sleeping and lay in a state of terrible impatience for the rest of the night. All right, we're going to stop here for today. That's the end of that chapter. So we'll start chapter 14 next time, which is called The Way Out. Another cliffhanger for you.